Hello and welcome back to Learn to Skill. Here we're back today with more JavaScript Snake. Last episode we tried to separate everything into more files and have an easier development experience. We're trying to add the pause menu right now. We left off with a lot of bugs, did not work, ran a little long, so today we're going to try to fix it. We're going to try to make it display the pause text and clear the canvas. Hopefully it's not too big a deal, so hopefully we'll have a short one here, but yeah, that's the plan for today. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing you gotta do is start the servers, so go to the back end, start the back end. Maybe next part or so we'll do start the leak code journey. That may or may not be a disaster, we'll see. That runs the Django backend. Go to the other terminal. Okay, so we should have it. Let's go to localhost 5173. Put it over. And we currently have nothing. Awesome. Hopefully today won't be as problem ridden as the last one. Have a good little development day. So let me refamiliarize where we were. So we have our main component in JavaScript here. The settings disaster, I believe, is fixed. So the key handler, I believe, worked. We're currently not getting any behavior. I wonder if it's because we have to press spacebar. That is why. So before we look into why that is happening, I'm gonna go ahead and try to go ahead and start and then pause, as in running a game.draw before. So I'm guessing like this. And this way maybe it will actually draw the context before we start. So yeah, here we are. However, the canvas isn't started. We can at least have the objects on the screen here now. One thing we need is the actual paused text to occur. For some reason, spacebar is opening the tab here. It no longer is. So the pause functionality is still working. Actually, have the objects. Now we just need it to draw the background. I guess a clear canvas call would do that. Just go ahead and do that. Actually, we don't want to clear the canvas every time. Maybe instead calling this here right after the actual game is called. However, we need the context. So basically what we want is to initialize the drawing before we actually pause it. That way we can actually see that the game is paused without just looking at a blank screen. Of course, eventually that will be replaced with a menu screen. would say passing the context through to here, but I feel like that's an overhanded solution. Because we actually initialize the variable before we ever initialize the context, so I feel like that wouldn't work. We could just have a startup function that says as the context, and then just calls a clear canvas and a not a reset, a game draw. The question is, where do we call this startup? It has to be someplace where the context is initialized, but we don't want to do it every time the loop occurs. So I wonder, so canvas ref is, I see. So we're saying the current canvas rep and then the context. Ooh, a little groggy today. Brain's real slow today on this one. I'd say that I don't want to just add an if statement here. Anything we put in this interval loop here, the game loop, is gonna run every single frame. So we want to make sure to not clog it up with unnecessary if statements, because we only need to initialize it once, basically. So this is also a problem because it's where we want to draw the menu. So like we're saying main.main. So essentially, this is the code that's being ran every frame, and it's checking the game state to see which type of frame to draw. So we could say if, actually we could add another state where we start with startup, and then change the state once we start up the game to paused. And then here, we just say else. This is not startup. I believe this will work. Oh man. Oh. Looks like we're drawing it multiple times, however. So let's see how many times this is running. Oh. Well, that would be the issue. I said this not game.state. This needs to just be this.state. This.state is not a function. Man, what am I? Oops. Okay. What am I doing there? Paused. There we go. Little groggy today. And boom, there we go. Now, why is this score being drawn multiple times? Because if you look, it starts and then it slowly just becomes darker. I would assume that is because it is doing it multiple times. So let's say, the pause frame shouldn't draw this, right? Check. It's paused. We play. However, for some reason, the actual canvas, I assume, is it being colored? Where's the settings? I believe this is gray. Why don't I just change this to light gray? Interesting. Okay. So again, we're getting that hit pause, and it brings up the. Maybe we're gonna have to change that button. Maybe from here when it's just automatically shown. So how this works is it tracks the screen size. So when the screen reaches a certain width, it brings it back, and then in order to bring it back, you just press this button. And then once the screen sees that width, so when you look at things at a different format, this is what it would look like, and then you could press this button, and then yeah. Whew. Okay. How do we fix this thing? One thing is, if you close it too much, the actual snake game doesn't close, which is another issue. Eventually we would have to make the canvas ref dynamic, which could be a problem because the grid size has to divide evenly. So 400 has to be divided by something that evenly divides it into a square grid if you want to keep it a square. So whatever size the actual canvas is going to be needs to be able to be divided equally by your grid. That will be a problem in itself eventually, but today we're just trying to get it to actually play the game Snake with a pause feature. So there's a couple things I'm worried about. The actual pause isn't happening, and scores being written multiple times, which leads me to believe that the actual clear canvas is not being done correctly. Let me see if it's being called. It should be. It's just a preliminary check. Make sure we cover our bases. But it makes me... Yes, so it's being called, but it's not actually clearing the... Let me remove this. It's not actually clearing score. Like, obviously you can see that we're not actually making the canvas a certain color, which is kind of weird. Saying full rect at 0, 0, and then within height. So the within height should be canvas rect current width, canvas rect current height. So I have no idea why this would not work. So we're gonna ask our best friend, ChatGPT. And here I'm just passing all the functions that are involved with the canvas, clear canvas. That way it has a full picture of what is happening, and it can tell me what I fucked up. Let's see. So apparently we're calling the function wrong here, and that would be the issue. We added the width and height here, didn't add it here. Simple solution. So I should just it works. However, I don't believe light gray is actually a color option. So go back to settings. Maybe just gray. Okay, so it's not the same color. Maybe let me reverse it back to this one. Save it. There we go. So this is the natural color. So the actual canvas is working. Actual pause canvas is working now. Text still isn't there, so that's going to be another issue. However, first I want to fix that it's not actually... For some reason, it's not filling the canvas on startup. So when we run a game frame, we clear and then draw. And then here, again, we're not passing in the width enough. So kind of a simple solution. Going good so far. And instead we just need to pass the width here, and then we pass it through here. Check now. So here now we have the snake game is drawn, and it starts on pause. It took a while, it took a lot of setup, but hey, we got there. So now I gotta fix the text.
Your word is formaldehyde.
Oh, we got that.
Can you use it in a sentence?
As you're sitting...
My bad. Okay. Okay. Text. Where's the text being called? Calling the text in menu.draw. Let's go to menu. And then we're calling this.text.draw, draw text ctx. I'm assuming this is happening because in the last part we added a bunch of parameters, but we didn't add it into menu. Nope, just kidding. We have the add text. Should say pause at 200, 100, 32 font. So that then goes and pushes it to the text item, but it's not text item anymore, it is the text queue. Let's go ahead and check if that was the solution. Looks like it is not, there's still more wrong. Might just be another call to text item instead of text queue. So then we call draw text, and then we go through the text queue, and then in each one, go fill text. So let's make sure the actual item is being pushed into the text queue. So after we push, let's just check the actual queue itself. Make sure that something is actually in there. And it looks like no. So something is going wrong when we add the text. It is text queue. It is pushing to the text queue. I think I did this wrong. It should be this.textQueue.push the text, not this.text.push text queue. Somehow I had swapped those. We're still not getting a text. We're still not getting anything in the text queue either. Interesting. Actually, this would be text item. Still not getting anything. Are we getting... Still not getting an item in the text queue. We're still actually not... It seems like we're not even calling this. Actually, it's the easy way to check that. Yes, we're actually not even calling add text, which would be the problem here. Pause. What? I just didn't add this function into... I said this menu.draw. Ah, I see the problem. So when the key is actually... Interesting. So... in startup, we need to call the actual pause call. Because we're actually not even adding anything currently, which would make a lot of sense. So in the actual startup, we'll just say this dot menu dot pause menu. I don't believe it has any parameters. And then now we should get the text inside the text queue. And then when this is actually drawn, it should empty the text queue. Reference error, text item is not defined, add text, add text. Interesting. Maybe if I make this a constant. Or maybe let. And then now we're getting text JavaScript line 29. Here, when we look at the segment.x, we're actually not reading anything. So let's make sure that the actual, let's print out the actual segment. So actually getting a check, so that text is actually being called. And then we want to console.log the actual segment. And now we're getting a smorgasbord of errors here. So if position X is 200, position Y, size and then text. So it should be, I know what the problem is. So we didn't actually make this in array. We made this whatever these symbols are. Not exactly sure what they are. Again, I'm learning. But now we should be able to call it like it's an array. Or yeah, we should be able to call it like it's an array now. Paused. There it is. It does not get redrawn on a pause, probably because we're not actually calling pause again. So I believe that's in the menu. Menu key handler, return true. We need to call this dot pause to display the pause menu. Pause text. I believe that should display. Yes, so we get paused every time. Great. Let's go ahead and remove the console logs so we don't flood the console. So now we just want to move this to an actual good place. For some reason, I'm guessing this right here, this 200. Yeah, 200 would be the middle of the canvas, and then 100 is here. So I'm guessing it's drawing at this point or this point. So we need to move it about, I want it about here. So we're going to need to make 200 probably about 50 down, and then probably about 50 up as well. Probably make it smaller as well. Let's do 28. Yes, it's better. A little higher. A little to the right. 60. There we go. That's more or less what we want. A simple text saying, "Hey, your game is paused." Yeah, code isn't broken. Your game is just paused. So yeah. So we now have a functional snake game with the pause feature, a score, and a draws. So hey, I did want to test this, and the text is drawn on top, so you're looking good. So what happens next? So this is, I would call this a minimum viable product. I mean, it's not too complicated. It's literally snake. So it's not like a huge thing. So we actually got all this. The next step would be to add the barriers, I'd say, or actually making it so that we can actually have more than one food, or we have multiple avenues. Adding the settings to make more than one food will probably be the next small step. And then I do want to add barriers that move across the screen. We're going to have a frame counter and barrier speed and everything like that. After that, I want to add a particle machine so that when the barrier actually hits the snake, when the snake is more than one length, and say the barrier hit in this position right here, it would slice off this, and this, and then those sections would, say, like explode into particles, something like that, something simple. And then maybe I want to add a enemy snake, an enemy player, where an AI snake goes and tries to eat the food itself. And then maybe adding a power-up where it gets a special type of food, say blue food, and then it can eat barriers or eat the other enemy snake. That's kind of the ideas I got going on right now for the snake game. I do want to try and expand to actually making more web development, making the page prettier. I do want to make a resume. If you see here, I have a resume component over on the side. I do want to make a resume component because I have it so that it communicates with the backend and gets the actual like resume objects. So setting them up into something that looks pretty and adding back the resume page is something for the future. The about page, I have no idea what I'm gonna put there, but that's something that needs done. And any other pages, I mean, I could try and create another game. I know Snake is exceedingly simple. I've always wanted to do a clicker game. Never really got into very far with that, but you know, it's a channel where we learn things, so might as well just go for it. But for now, I want to focus on the Snake game, and maybe start doing leak code, JavaScript, so that I can build foundational skills. But yeah, so let's go ahead and try and make it so that we can set the max food. So this will be in game settings. So we actually want the max food, and we'll go ahead and set it to 2 for right now. So basically all that's going to happen is we're going to have to add more food objects. So this would actually be in the game settings, in the actual game itself. So let's go ahead and remove the event emitter. I don't think we are going to need that. So I want to focus on, go ahead and remove the, I need import, and I don't believe we need this. Let me make sure. I believe I was trying to access the snake and food in the actual snake.jsx page. We no longer do that. One thing is paused actually comes in a little late. Maybe adding a loading. We'll see. It's fine for right now. So instead of actually just having a food object, we could have a food objects array. And then instead of having one, we'll just push this dot food object. I actually don't think we're pushing in the settings anymore, right? Oh, no. Yeah, I forgot. We already went through all that. Yeah, let's not change that again. This dot food object is new. Actually, push new food settings. So what this will do is push the objects. Now we just need the for loop. Actually, I don't know. I've never done just like a for, because what we want is in the settings we declared the actual max food. So we just want to do a loop for. We want to do this command for every max food. So let me go ahead. So we'll go ahead and just do a traditional for loop. Okay, yeah, we'll do a traditional for loop. This really just haven't done one of these in a while. So So we let I. Oops, that is you. So I is 0. I is less than settings dot max food. Actually, it should be it's not settings. Just kidding. It's one of the parameters, so we can access it like this. And then max food. And then I plus plus. This should not be a comma, this should be a semicolon. So now we'll have an array of food objects corresponding to the setting. So now we need to update the hit detection for the snake, or not the snake, the food. So this is the food hit detection. The actual snake hit detection, I believe, is done in the actual snake file, where the only way to die right now is if the snake enters itself. So let me go ahead and find where that is. Actually, not here. I think it is game over. Yeah, so this is actually the snake hit detection. Then let's just have a blanket hit detection command. Not food hit detection, just hit detection itself. And then all we do is just call our hit detection. We probably want the snake hit detection first. I doubt an edge case will ever come up where we hit a food and our body at the same time. Doesn't really make contextual sense. But if we want the game, if the game is over, we don't want to check for food hit detection. That'll just be a waste of time. So now we just got to update our actual hit detection call. I believe it is in run game frame. Oh. Okay. Actually, don't need to update call. We need the same thing. Okay. So check for snake hit detection. Then we check food hit detection. Now the only thing left that we have to do is what if the game ends? Because right now we actually don't have the game ending. So let's go ahead and actually add that menu. So end, we want to add text. Died. Go ahead and do the exact same values. Eventually, these will need to be changed to dynamic values instead of just static, so that if the screen is changed, it will dynamically, like say the screen is changed and our canvas is only 200 by 200. This is going to be a completely different location than where it is now. So we will have to fix that. So menu key handler. So we want an actual end screen. So what we need is another state. So we have running, paused, and then startup. I believe it's 2 capitals. Actually, we just said else. Oh, it's right there. Okay. Start up, and then we want in. Yeah, we'll do in. So basically, we check if this is game over. We want to check. So this returns true. So this will be true. So instead of returning true, we just need to set this dot end to true. We want the initial value to be false. So here we just check if this .game.end instead. If this is end, then we need to do our reset logic. So instead of doing this, an alert, we're going to do this .menu.end. So this for right now is fine. This class will be a lot bigger once we actually add menu objects that are more advanced than just a text word. But for now, it will be fine. Where were we? Okay, I'm all over the place today. So this .menu.end, this will add the text to the queue. And then we want to actually return. Instead, we don't want to do that. Actually, we do want to return from run game frame. We want it to end. We do want this to happen. We want reset to happen. We're gonna want a reset function inside the actual main, and then that way this will handle all reset events. So I actually don't think this does it. Window location dot reload, because we actually don't have window. I believe this is causing an error, because we actually, with all our testing, we actually have an error currently. Can't read properties of undefined draw food. Where in the world is that? Game.draw. This off. Oh. So actually, instead of just calling the food object, we actually loop through the food objects. Actually didn't check if that functionality worked. Sorry, again, I'm all over the place. Just go ahead and do a for each loop. Just discussing looking through the different loops, seeing which one I want to use here. Let's actually use a for a food object in this food objects. For food in this food objects, we want to call the draw function. So food dot draw food ctx. I believe that should. Food dot draw food is not a function. Okay, actually, we're gonna go back to the for each. Sorry, I'm not familiar with. Of course, we're learning here. That's the point, but so it's a callback function. We have a food value and an X number, and then array food. Interesting. So we actually just want the item. I wonder if that will be enough, or we'll see an error here. And then we literally want to item.draw with the context. That should work. Yes. So now, as you can see, we have 2 food. So we unpause. Oh, and it looks like I misspelled something wrong on line 62. Here I said snake hit detections instead of detection. Just need it here. I still spelled it wrong. What in the world did I do? I'm terrible at spelling, so. Okay, are we good? This.snake hit detections is not a function. Interesting. It is a function, so that is interesting. Ah, hit detection, but there's an S. Okay. Ooh, okay. So now we're actually getting an error. But the actual error isn't staying on the console. Can I read properties of position? Is there a way to not have it reset? So it seems like these are... Ah, it's because of this. It's trying to access the food object's position. But again, we need to do this for every single food, not just a food object. I should have done this when I actually added this before moving on. Again, I am all over the place and repeating myself. Anyway. Boom! Now we just put this in here. And then just go ahead and read this. Change this to food, so don't have to change everything. Then I actually will go ahead and include the arrow. And then change this to food as well, for clarity's sake. And it breaks because we don't have that there. Any uncaught exception. I'm assuming... Ah, it's because we automatically say end is true instead of returning hit wall or hit self. Hit wall was for... actually, we'll just say this. Hit self is not defined because he's got... Okay. We actually get movement here. However, as you can see, hit detection is not working. Why is that? Make sure it is being called in here. This is game to hit detection. Should be the same. Let me just make sure it's being called, I guess. Yes, it is being called.
Need inspiration? Shop
As you see, we're
Kroger for
getting
over
multiple
30,000
checks.
mouth-watering choices with savings beyond low
I
prices.
got another
like
ad. I
digital
don't know
coupons
how
worth over
I'm
600.
getting so many ads when last time I got 0, but sorry about that. Okay. So we're looking. We're seeing that this is working for the actual draw. So I have a suspicion it may have something to do with this. Let me go ahead and log. I'll check here. Actually pull up the thing. Getting multiple checks. As you can see, it's going up 2 at a time, it looks like. So for some reason, it seems like it's probably because check the food, we need its position. So I'm guessing that yes. So this needs to actually be, these also need to be updated. So instead we'll say position equals food.position. And say let. And then instead of food, we check. Actually, let's just say food object. Food object. And say food, so everything has to be updated. And then say this dot food, not this, but food object instead. And then let me spell it right. So then we need to update the position. And then this do while loop checks whether or not the new position is in the snake or not, because we don't want a food to spawn in the snake and the player to get an automatic point. And then this updates the score text, this updates the length, this updates that. I believe we should have working food hit detection now. We do. So let's go ahead and check while we're getting food here. Let's go ahead and check how the in logic is currently working. So it ends and automatically completely resets. We don't want that to happen. We want it to stay on a screen like this, but instead of saying pause, it says end. And then at the bottom we say press space to restart or something like that. And maybe moving it to the middle of the screen to show that, hey, we died. Another thing we could do is changing the snake's color to orange. We'll say orange is death. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's look at the state. We want the state, when the state is in, we want to reset. And this is back to where we were before. Okay. Back at it. Okay. So when we reset, we basically want this to happen. So instead of this, we want this. And then we want to just call this start reset. So when we reset, we want to add the in text. And let's go ahead and make this probably about 160 probably be good. We just want to move it down to the middle. So about, probably say 160 again. And then we also want to add text below that that says press space to restart. And we want to add it below that, so I'll just update the Y position. So we want it, it's about 28 pixels in font size. So we're probably going to want at least 30 down. So we'll do 130. And we'll do that, needs to be the opposite. It needs to be, we'll do 200. And then we definitely don't want it to be this size. Probably 20 will be fine. And then when it ends, we want that text to be reloaded. We don't want this to happen. We want the game to be reset. So what happens when we reset the game? We want to set up the food objects again. We're going to set up the food objects again. We want to set up the new snake back into its first position. We need to reset the score to 0. And we need to, yes, except we actually don't want to do that yet. We want to do that once we get out of end. So what needs to happen is when the character dies, we want to keep the snake on screen so that they can see how they died, what happened, instead of just automatically resetting and then drawing that. So the previous game draw state needs to be the same. So I'd say we update the snake color. Actually, that would have to be in the settings. Or I guess we could directly change it. So it has to be this game.snake.color equals, and then we'll say orange. And we'll say this dot game dot draw. Positions haven't changed, so it should just redraw all the things to the screen. We actually want to clear canvas before we do these things. And then we want to call the this dot menu dot draw. So instead of reset, let's actually do end. So the state the actual state should be end when this happens. So the actual reset function needs to be, this will be what happens when we end. This will display what we want on the screen. But in order to reset, we'd want to call this game.reset. We want to reset the state back to startup. And then in here, we want to update the state to end. And we want to return. So what should happen when the state is then in? So we need to update this. So now that's end, we want to run this dot end. We want to run this dot end. I guess we would also want to run end frame. And then let's actually run this dot end here. Let's go ahead and move the update to the state into the solution. So we actually don't want to do this. We want to do a run end frame. However, we could just update the game to paused. Actually, let's try that. Because we add the text that we want here, we just don't add paused. But the behavior should essentially be the same as if the game was paused. So let's go ahead and try that. Make it simpler. So now we just gotta try to end the game. However, we do get, so here's our text. It's not in the correct position whatsoever, but we will fix that. So if we press space, yes, we get a lot of errors. So actually, we do need a special condition here because we want it to run a paused frame. But when the key is actually handled, it presses space and then it pauses, right? But if the key is actually handled, we need it to not unpause. We need it to completely reset. So here we says if the state is paused. Here we say we check the key handler to see if the spacebar is pressed, and then we say if the state is paused, we will not pause. And we go to run. What if the state is in? And we actually are going to want to remove this here because we don't want the pause screen. So we're actually going to want to pause it here. And then now so the state is paused, then start running. If the state is, we're gonna need another statement here. End. Then, when pause is pressed, or when spacebar is pressed, again, after the end screen is caused, then we're going to want to reset. Which will reset the game and set us back to the start up state. So let's try this now. I guess now we would not need this, I believe, since we decided to call state there. That might cause issues in the future. We're still good. Not paused, paused, not paused. Get enough length to end the game. Oh, more. Die, press space to restart, space. And then we actually get an error in main.end. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this. We will not be needing it. In end, this dot states main.end, main.
The robots have gotten pretty good at what they do, but they can't give an item a human touch.
So we got it also looks like we're drawing this text multiple times. So main.end main run game frame main.end this dot end. I see. So end, and then we try to clear the canvas, but we don't have any of the things that we need to do such an action. Actually, I don't want to pass these parameters in, so before we do anything, let's just clear the canvas on end. Honestly, we could just clear the canvas here, and then hopefully both areas. Now we just gotta end again. Make sure pause is working, pause is working. Okay. Uncaught CTX is not defined. I forgot to remove it from here. Here we go. It's a good thing I like the game of Sneak, or else this could be torture. I'll probably get sick of it by the time I'm actually done with it. Cannot set properties of undefined setting. So style, F food to draw. Oh boy. So it's looking like I call game.draw, but I don't have the context. So either I need to input the context or I need to draw elsewhere. I'd say we just input the context. There we go again. Oh man. Here we go. I chose Snake because it's a relatively simple game, I feel. I feel it's one of the first, you know, hey, you're a coder, you want to make a game, make Snake. It's the easiest, simple, rules are simple, everyone understands how to play. And then we still get the full style. So let's go ahead and look it's happening at main.main, run game frame, end, game.draw, array for each. So it's looking like our actual array here. Array for each, anonymous. It's happening at line 79. So I'm saying draw, but I'm guessing the state's going to actually need to be in now. So we in the state. We in the state, and no, actually we're running paused. This is actually paused. This is going to be confusing. I'm probably gonna have to change this later to have an in state and a pause state instead of trying to do both at the same time. However, it will be much simpler once the actual menus are more than text. It would be a lot simpler. So the state, we end, we add the end text, we make the color orange, we draw, and then we also are gonna have to make the color back to green. Okay. So it says food.draw food. Be an object. It's saying that fill style. It looks like the context isn't correctly being passed in. Probably because I didn't pass it in through here. There it is. Okay. Now we're back to playing the joy that is Snake. I believe we need at least. Okay, we have liftoff here. The snake does turn green, sorry, orange, from green. Die. Press space to restart. Press space. Nothing happens. Because I said if the state is end, which is why we need to change the end. I am just groggy. So say it's end. However, I guess we could just say or for now. Actually, thinking about it, we should probably reorder this because the majority of the time running is going through a state rather than pause or end. So checking running would save a lot. It could save a lot of time since, of course, it's the majority state. So I'm actually gonna just go ahead and change it. Changed. However, we are no longer getting the star being paused. Why? You start up. This should be paused. Interesting. Ah, you see, I didn't Okay, start paused, play. Oh, scroll bar here for some reason. Oh. So actually what happened here is the keys, if you press 2 keys before the frame is done, then it actually processes 2 actions, which then allows us to kill ourselves. Because right there I pressed up and then right really quickly, and I pressed it too quickly, so it actually processed the up and then processed the right, which before the thing actually moved. So that's another problem we'll have to fix eventually, but up this die click here, so settings is not defined. Classic. In game.reset. Game.reset. Main.reset. Because why? It says main.key handler. It called reset, and then it tried to call game reset, but it said that settings is not defined because we actually don't have a this.settings object. Now we just gotta update to this.settings. This.settings. I feel like we're getting close. Come on. Unpause. Back to the grind. I'm gonna try to do the bug again. I did it. Press space to restart. You get the same error again. Settings is not defined. Say this.settings. No. Ah. I forgot one. Okay. Now I gotta do the bug again. And then we'll move the text, maybe better place. And then, if you can see, it restarts paused. Press it again, and we die. And we die, and we die. Why do we die? So, what is happening? We reset it. It leaves the end state. So end state, it resets, reset, goes to startup state, goes to startup state, it goes to startup, and then clears canvas, draws, pause, and then it changes to the pause state. So then we're paused, and then we unpause. We unpause, we go to running. I have a sneaking suspicion that it's due to the hit detection. So it's saying that however, it should reinitialize a new snake. Because we're calling the game reset in our reset here. Then it goes to startup, it clears canvas, redraws. So here, when it redraws, I guess right here, let's console log the snake. Just go ahead and do the bug. Oh, didn't work. Huh. Seems at size 2, the keys are actually handled. Huh, that is interesting. So we restart. It's pause. The snake, you have the actual snake here, is length 1. And then we instantaneously die. Ah, because actual setting for this.game.end is never set back to false. So when we reset, we need to update this.end to be false. And I believe we will then have the end logic working. Ah, there it is. There it is, folks. I'm celebrating such a just snake, so it's not that impressive, but it is satisfying. I will say that. Very satisfying. Okay. So, one step at a time here. Slowly making the game. Still looks bad, but you know, logic is developing. States are happening. So, the next step is adding the. Next step is first adjusting this to be a little better. The next step is going to be adding the barriers. That more ways to kill a snake, basically, because you know, make it more interesting. Eventually making it prettier. I do want to comment everything because that's important. It's incredibly boring though, but it would definitely help at some points, I'd say. But yeah, so I'd say that is the end of this part. Next part, we will be focusing on trying to add barriers. Shouldn't be as complicated as the state management, but as you see here, we still need to move up. This just takes adjusting time. Of course, it's probably going to change later anyway. But yeah, so that was under skill. Part 3, learning JavaScript, and hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next one.